In the past, we could even raise funds with just a white paper.
It's very easy to buy a community.
Naturally, VCs become more wary.
You see on their what's their Twitter talking about. You see what's their how's the way they try to do growth. How is the follower put the comment. It's pretty easy to identify. It's a good marketing or it's a bad marketing.
We ourselves, we are not willing to put in money for this project. We can't really expect other people to be confident enough to put the money into us as well.
What happened to me was that I was involved in a sort of like a VC scam.
And actually it was almost exactly the same.
Everything is great tech, great product, but the founder is a scammer. Done so many scams before.
You're probably not gonna like the answer.
Oh, okay. This is definitely a scam.
Hello everyone, thank you all for joining, and I'm Eunice from Third Invest, and I'm excited to kick off this discussion on investor sentiments in 2024, what VCs are looking for in crypto projects. So before we dive in, I'd like to introduce my co-host for today, Clement. We're thrilled to guide you through this engaging conversation and explore what venture capitalists are prioritizing in the crypto space this year. As many of you know, we're living in an era where innovative ideas are being born every day, especially in the world of cryptocurrency. As we're approaching further digitalization, a lot of startups are being born, and that's why there are many different ideas that we see on Twitter, on Telegram. However, bringing these ideas to life are quite difficult, especially because these ideas often require funding. So in order to have funding, venture capitalists are here and they play a crucial role in making dreams a reality, especially for those entrepreneurs who may not have access to funding on their own. So today we have an incredible lineup of speakers who bring a wealth of knowledge and experience in this area. First, we have Marcus, founding member and growth and creative lead of KYEX Labs. Next, we have CEO of Jade City, who will share insights on their unique projects. Adel Shaheen, co-founder of Off-Chain Global, will also be joining us to discuss his perspectives on funding in this dynamic space. And last but certainly not the least, we have Victor G, co-founder of Manta Network, who will help us understand their innovative approach to incubating projects. So I want to give this stage to Clement as he will be leading our discussions today. Clement?
Right, thanks Eunice, thanks for the introduction. And yeah, I think we have quite a couple of esteemed guests here today with us at the Vault Show. So we will briefly talk a lot about what investors are looking for right now in the market. I think the entire landscape has changed drastically because if you were to compare like 2023 to 2024, I think most investors right now are starting to get their hands a little bit wet. And we want to hear more from all these esteemed guests on what they are seeing right now in the market. We also have quite a couple of interesting people who came to the show today, and one of them, which I'm really looking forward to hear, would be from Victor, which is from Manta Network, and of course mentioning Adele from Off-Chain Global, Wills from Jade City, as well as Marcus from KYEX. So yeah, let's dive into the first topic, guys. We just wanted to perhaps give our listeners a better gauge and a better feel of the whole investor sentiment in 2024, like maybe starting from Q1 all the way to, we're almost in Q4 right now. So what's the, the key factors that you think, drive all these investment decisions from the VCs? Victor, maybe you can explain your current experience so far.
Hi everyone, I'm Victor, co-founder of Manta Network. We've been keep building in the space for 4 years, and I think I think actually the in this market today we talk about the private investment, if I understand correctly.
Yes.
Basically I think this is a really different market compared to others. Other market is private investor a support project when this project grow big, and that can impact the secondary market. But this market, the secondary market, like especially Bitcoin, have extremely huge impact on the private market. Like we see like this fundraising for the even like fund of funds for the private deal investment. So you can see in 2018-19, like because the secondary market liquidity goes down and like Bitcoin and all of this major crypto like goes down, the fundamental take down the fundamental and take down the whole private market. 2022 and 3 are the same, but it don't have that much different. It's much better because a lot of fund they raised in the like hype in 2021. But recently, I think most of these funds they spend all their money, but it's hard to get a return. That's getting trouble again.
Yeah, I agree with you, Victor. So yeah, a lot of times it's to see how Bitcoin's performance is, and then everyone is trying to jump in the bandwagon. So yeah, Victor, perhaps a few more questions from my side. I mean, you mentioned that everyone's looking at the performance of Bitcoin and the whole private investment scene, with the VCs and so on is relatively changed since 2018 until now. So what do you think, like especially for you guys, since you guys are a mainnet yourself, what do you think is like the main thing that's catching the eyes of all these private VC funds and all these funds of funds right now? Is there like a specific category that they are looking at, especially with the upcoming bull run?
Oh, I mean, like we are not raising in the private market, so I actually don't know. Like what they're thinking about, Manta, because this is totally different market. I don't think a lot of VC they're actually actively follow the like project already on the market. So I mean, I think I do some angel. That's probably the only thing relevant to the private market, but it's not like we see like give huge check size or doing a lot of incubation or something. So I think what we raised is 4 years before is totally different. That time there's start to have some liquidity, and the valuation for infrastructure is on different size. Yeah, everything is different.
I understand. Thanks, Victor. And yeah, lovely to know that as an angel, you are also looking to support some projects. So yeah, I mean, we are looking forward for Manta's performance in the upcoming year as well, because I think Manta has been doing really well recently, especially with some of the meme campaigns that we've seen so far in the past. So yeah, now I'd like to take this question to our our next guest. So Adele, I just wanted to get a bit of perspective from you before we go on to the next question. Adele, how do you think that I mean, basically off-chain has like a lot of charters around the world, right? And the community for off-chain is extremely strong. I mean, we do see so many events since, I don't know, the start of time, maybe even. I think my first off-chain event was in 2021 or 2022. I can't remember. But in your own perspective, like, what do you think keeps the community engaged, and what gives like the private investors confidence when they see like a strong community?
Sure. So off-chain, yeah, like you said, we've been around since 2017-ish. We used to be Crypto Drinks back then, so we rebranded a couple of times. And yeah, we're in about 70 plus cities, so it's always good to have events around the world, and it kind of becomes like a launch pad. I mean, right? Anywhere you go, there'll be a local person to help you out. In terms of investor relations, it's a tricky question because it depends how sophisticated the investor is. So a lot of investors, they'll just go on a Telegram and be like, okay, there's a community. Yeah, they send X amount of messages every day, but they don't really engage or check how real is the community or how legit the community is. So in our experience, like where we see real communities happening, and that's what we kind of push, is the localization part of it, right? So when we go to Singapore, there'll be a Singaporean group just for Singapore. And for us, it's very easy to engage and see, look, is this project interesting in Singapore and Malaysia and whatever, just by asking about it, right? Because it becomes that specific region or that specific geo group. So yeah, for us, I mean, this is a big thing that's happening recently, right? We saw it a lot in token. It's more about the community rather than the utility of the token, and it's great that Manta has got both the community and the utility because they're playing
Yes.
in a good space. But as we saw in this cycle, or we'll probably see in the next cycle as well, the community and the engagement is way more important, right? That's why memes are becoming so big because you can build
Yes.
like a cult following around it. So where people like us, and especially investors like us, when we partner with a project or we partner with an event or a VC, we bring real community to that event. So we're not shareholders or anything or getting involved in that project, but we bring the people there, and then the people themselves can do their own research at the event or at the presentation. So that's where we kind of play, and we kind of see it interesting. And I think it'll be the next couple of years will be even more interesting because there'll be even more of a shift towards community engagement, and ideally someone will come up with like an engagement score just to see
Right.
how communities are doing. Because there's a lot of fake communities out there. It's
Yeah.
very easy to buy a community.
Yes, yes, I agree with you 100%. And even right now on Telegram, you can sort of give instructions to the bots to, ask them to post messages in the group chats in a
Yep.
very structured and uniform manner. And like sometimes if you're not experienced enough, if let's say you're someone who is, not even from this industry, you might not even tell them apart.
Well, even if like English is your second language, it looks like real messages, right? It's
Yes.
and it's going to get better and better because what we do with ChatGPT now feels very human.
Yes, exactly. So, like, how do you like try to siphon these people away, like the fake community and the real one? Is it through, like you mentioned, all the engagement offline, or is there other ways to do so?
Yeah, so offline engagement is our biggest thing, and it's usually the most obvious for us as well. Like when we partner with someone, well, again, 13 Desk is a great example, right? When they're hosting an event, it's very easy to go to a 13 Desk event and say, "Oh, where'd you come from? Where did you hear about us?" And they'll most likely say off-chain, or I was invited by off-chain. So the
Right.
offline visibility is a lot easier for free events like 13 Desk. But even when we partner with Wow Summit or Block or something, we'll get at least 3-4 people paying customers. So it's always good to see. We do have some online tools of anti-spam verification, human, that kind of stuff. But honestly, it's much easier to just moderate and just kick anyone that feels spammy. And it's easy for us to do that because we localize each chapter, right? So
Mm.
you don't have to manage 50,000 people. You just have to manage 50 to 100, maybe 200, depending on your group chat.
Right.
So yeah,
Got it.
moderation is still very human for us.
Understand. Okay, thanks so much, Adele, for sharing your
No
insights.
worries.
We'll go back to KYX to Marcus again because he was cut off. So yeah, Marcus, before we continue, maybe let's hear about like KYEX more. Maybe you can tell us how KYEX fits to the current landscape and like perhaps what VCs might be looking for and how you guys are, different from what is out there in the market right now.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Marcus from KYEX. So KYEX is basically an omnichain decentralized exchange. So for us, we empower users to perform cross-chain trades of various assets across different chains without bridging or wrapping. So the whole idea is to actually bring a centralized trading experience, as seamless as that, into a decentralized environment. The whole idea came about after FTX. We wanted to basically make seamless trading very stress-free and safe experience for users. Yep. So I think regarding the VC landscape and all of that, I think the market has gotten like pretty saturated with a lot of different ideas coming up and all that. And I'm sure most of us know that not all the ideas come into fruition. So naturally, VCs become more wary and more cautious in their processes. As a result, they would expect more proof of concept and all of that, which is only normal. But for products like us who are coming out, there's not many products like ours, pretty scarce because of the whole omnichain aspect. It's pretty tough to actually come out with a notable proof of concept and also have a point of reference for them and all that. So we actually had to build everything from ground up. So that's definitely more challenging in that aspect as well. Yeah, but the vote of confidence will come from the fact that it's a more rarely seen product around. Yeah, but I think there's generally at least a little bit of interest in omni-chain products as of now. Just that it's probably not the hottest topic at the moment.
Right. Thanks, Marcus, for sharing this experience. So, perhaps you could also share a little bit more about, like, I know you mentioned that right now, a lot of investors are very cautious. In the past, we could even raise funds with just a white paper, but I think right now that's almost impossible. So, maybe you could like deep dive a little bit more, like, you know, some of the conversations that you had with investors. Like, how were they? Like, were they mostly interested, or like, is it like you had to go through a lot of gatekeepers or something to even get some form of response from them? How's the whole process for you guys like so far?
I think at the moment, because we are also relatively new. In fact, we just launched like the first feature to mainnet like less than a month ago. So during testnet, we showed our product to some of the investors. Well, they liked the product, but they were asking about users and all that. But at the same time, it's all tested numbers, so they are not very tangible stuff. Not very. I mean, testnet numbers could easily be fabricated and all of that, so it's not very verifiable at the same time. So regarding mainnet numbers, definitely most of the VCs are asking for like what's your community size, what volume are you raking in and all of that. But at the same time, I think it's partially because of the protocol that we're built on as well. It's fairly new. The whole ecosystem is not that flourishing yet. So they're basically asking for like metrics of how much volume and all that. But frankly, for companies of our scale, like just starting out and very small, we're actually looking for like VCs who basically specialize in early stage projects with incubator programs as well, because we would like it's not really about the money actually. Like it's just, I think a lot of projects out there are looking for like a third party verification. So basically like the VC investing in me, like honestly the VC could invest like just 100k and all that, but at the very least is for me to show users like, okay, so I'm not the only one here saying that this is a good product. Like other people feel the same way as well, which is why I managed to secure a VC funding. Yeah, it's tough because there's a reason why we need the incubatorship in the first place, but at the same time they're asking for numbers in the end game and all that. So yeah, we basically have to work on it a lot more, trying to get it up and running ourselves from zero before we can actually like get into contact with VCs again to have a further conversation from there.
Understood. Thanks, Marcus. And I mean, also to kind of carry on from that previous question, because you guys are somewhat like you guys are omni-chain, right? You guys are doing an omni-chain order book trading platform, right?
Yeah.
So is that more difficult to sort of work with like a single mainnet? If that's the case, for example, if let's say you were to go to, I don't know, for example, Arbitrum or maybe even Manta or someone else, would it be more difficult for you guys to work with them and perhaps get more support from the mainnets in this way, or actually that's not relevant?
It should be tougher because at the same time, let's say for example, we're now also considering implementation of layer 0. So for example, layer 0 has 79 connected chains right now on their mainnet. So if I were to bring the access of 79 connected chains to the users, that would also mean like, you know, like out of the 79 chains, which one do I prioritize to have a working partnership with? I think it's a lot more easier for us to actually go to layer 0 and establish a good working relation with them to solidify ourselves as one of the ecosystem partners of them. So for now we are on Zeta chain. So likewise, we are actually building a stronger working relation with them as well to basically stand our ground as one of the ecosystem partners as well. So yeah, I think the challenge is in, you know, I could if I connect to, let's say, Arbitrum through layer 0 and I connect to, let's say, Rootstock with layer 0, who do I go to first? Be it Arbitrum or Optimism and all that, you know. Yeah, it's too many chains to consider.
Correct.
So we'll start from the one that actually bridges us to all the other chains.
All right, got it. Thank you so much, Marcus, for the explanation. And yeah, appreciate the questions. I mean, appreciate the answers for the topics thus far. I think we'll move on to the next topic.
Yep.
So yeah, Eunice, perhaps you can take over the next topic and to check with the guests and see what their thoughts are for the next question.
Okay, so hi again. For the next topic, we're gonna discuss what VCs are looking for right now since as we mentioned, as we discussed earlier, there are really a lot of ideas that are given birth to, but they don't come into fruition. That's the term that Marcus said. I want to ask. I want to first talk to Jade City. Wills, can you give us a quick overview of your project and how do you think it fits into what the market is currently looking for right now?
So just as in very short summary, Jade City is an RWA project. The physical asset that we're working with is jade. Jade is a gemstone, for those of you who don't know. In China and Southeast Asia, it's incredibly popular. Actually, in China, the trade in jade is bigger than the trade in diamonds. There's about $50 billion a year of trade in jade in China. It's also super popular in Japan and Vietnam. So we are co-founded by the world's largest jade mine. And what we're creating at Jade City is essentially an opportunity to allow a global community of people into the jade value chain. The jade value chain has always been very closed off. Almost a sort of cartel-like industry. In our case, if you want to use Jade City, you can come in, or you will be able to, because it's not live yet. You'll be able to come in, buy a jade bond, so essentially lend money onto the platform. For argument's sake, you lend $1,000. That money gets locked up in the bond for 6 months, and during that period, you can earn either dollars at a 14% APY, or you can earn tokenized physical jade at a 24% APY. So it's very high APY. And once you receive, let's say you choose to take physical tokenized jade, you can then use that jade to essentially play a jade loot box game. Essentially, you roll the dice with your jade, and from there, you end up owning a tokenized fraction of a specific piece of jade. And if you're unlucky, you'll get a bad piece of jade. And if you're lucky, you get a really good bit of jade. And then the physical jade will be sold and you receive the funds, the proceeds of sale. So that's really what Jade City does. In terms of the market and the narrative at the moment, RWA is, one of the sectors that, is in this particular bull run, is one of the key things that people are talking about. We talk about, there's a lot of meme talk, obviously, which is the complete opposite of RWA. There's AI and RWA as three of the key sectors. And, for RWA, it's really the first bull run for RWA. But in reality, RWA should become the biggest sector in this space, because the real assets, or as in the real world, they just call them assets. The assets of the world are huge. And by tokenizing them and making them easy to trade, easy to hold, easy to own, reducing barriers to entry by making, the price to get involved in a certain asset much smaller, because you can own a little fraction of something very expensive. It should be absolutely huge. It is a democratization, because traditionally the best assets have always been available to the richest people. But now the best assets can be broken up into tokens and they can be available for everybody. So I think it's a key sector. I think in terms of bull market, bear market volatility is going to be a lot less, because, in our particular case, our actual fundamental business is the trade of a physical product that does not go up or down in value. It's actually gone up in value every year for the last 20 years. So there we go. So yes, it's certainly something that VCs are interested in.
Yeah, so okay. Earlier, Adele mentioned something about the community. So I want to ask how you're planning to establish a community for Jade City, because right now, actually in the Philippines, and I think it's trendy for Gen Zs as well, and some millennials, that we're starting to collect crystals. And jade is one of the stuff that's being collected everywhere. And I actually have a jade ring with me, like. I really think that it's very popular right now, and I'm also seeing a lot of it on TikTok. So I saw that you have a community link as well, but I want to know how you're planning to appeal to the audiences about the jade mine, about the Jade City, and if you're planning to go wide scale and attract these youngsters or like these people across the globe.
Yeah, yes. So two key things there is jade. If you kind of go back 10 years ago, jade had become something that really the older generations were interested in. Maybe your grandmother would buy a bit of jade and give it to you. but it's like an investment, like buying some gold or something like that. It's a store of value, and increasingly it's been used as a store of value. But over the last couple of years, the young have got more interested in jade, a lot more interested in jade, and now it's a big part of the market. The young are generally buying lower quality jade because it's cheaper. I mean, a high quality jade bracelet can cost, $500,000, and most young people can't afford that. Whereas a lower quality one, it might be a few $100s. So that's where the young are going in terms of the market. Now, for us and our community build, we do all the normal stuff, whether it's community managers, Telegram channels, Twitter, all that stuff, PR. There's been a lot of good articles written about us recently. But the key is real world assets are, when you compare it to meme coins or something like that, it's a bit dry, it's a bit boring. And the younger generations want generally something that's more fun, right? They're not so interested in, government bonds or treasuries or whatever, stuff like this. So where we've carved out a special niche for ourselves in Jade City is, yes, it is real world assets, but we have two big advantages. One is jade is very sort of mystical, and there's a lot of stuff that we can build, a lot of beautiful imagery and a lot of stuff we can build around the community. But most importantly, our platform is gamified. Everything on the platform is gamified. The APY that you earn on your bonds, gamified, and you have to have, you can get NFTs, citizenship. You can essentially boost up your citizen to boost your APY. And then once you earn your jade, again, it's gamified once again. We have loot boxes. So it's like an ancient asset designed to appeal to quite literally teenagers and people in their 20s, the way we've designed it.
Okay, well, that's really interesting. So when you first came up with the idea, did you immediately think that you're gonna gamify this whole jade mining thing, or did you just come up?
No, not really. I spent the first 13 years of my career living on mines and working on mines. I eventually owned some mines, and I built 6 mines, and I sold 3 of them. So I came from a very traditional background, and it was only in 2017 that I started to get into crypto, and I left the mining industry, and I got very involved in the education side of blockchain. And then 2 years ago, I was approached by a friend of mine who had this mine, and he said, "Look, I've got this jade mine. Do you think we could do anything in the blockchain industry with this jade mine?" That wasn't in production at the time, and so he planted the seed in my head. And to start with, I said, "Well, let's get the mine into production first. Let's just do the traditional job first." So we raised a couple of $1 million. We got the mine producing. That was the first thing. And then about 6 months after that, we started to think about, do you just tokenize the stuff in the ground? Do you tokenize the jade as an investment asset? Or do you go for something more creative? And we have a great team, and we just brainstormed. I mean, we literally brainstormed for 9 months, ideas, arguing over what could work and this and that. And eventually we came up with what we came up with. Our token economy is very, very unique design. And I think the way we've designed our token economy, you could apply that to lots of physical assets. Essentially, our special niche is gamified RWA, and nobody's done that before. So I think it's going to be a very, very interesting approach to that.
Okay, so since a lot of people are actually, coming up with the same ideas every day, and they don't know that it's already there in the market, how do you remain competitive? Like, how much adjustment do you end up doing for remaining a competitive Jade's platform?
Okay, so we're the only one. That's the first one on the front of Jade. In the case of Jade, Jade itself, or jadeite, okay, because there's something called nephrite jade. So specifically jadeite, which is the most important type of jade, is only found in commercial quantities in 4 different countries, and 98% of it comes from Burma. Nobody's doing anything in Burma. That country is in civil war and all kinds of problems at the moment. So there's not really any. I mean, yeah, we could have a competitor, but we're working with the biggest mine in the world. I mean, it'd be very hard for anybody to compete with us on price. So that's just from like the physical point of view. In terms of innovating and keeping things interesting on the tech side, I think we literally have about 3 years of projects, like new things that we want to add to the platform to make it more fun. So the MVP testnet, which is coming out now, is quite basic. It's just buy a Jade bond, earn Jade. Then the next version will be the gamification of the Jade. The next version will be the gamification of the APY, and then there's about 8 other different add-ons that we want to add. Everything from the fact that you'll be able to buy a Jade NFT and burn your NFT and get physical delivery of the Jade yourself to your house. Yeah, there's literally no limit of stuff that we've got coming up.
Okay, that's really something to look forward to. I only have something that costs like $5. Like my jade ring is just $5. So I have to work really hard to achieve that.
No, that's fine. I mean, we have lots of, any jade mine has a mixture of low quality and high quality. There's no mine that just has high quality, because it's high quality and it's expensive because it's very, very rare. That's why, if you found it everywhere, it wouldn't be expensive. So yeah, most jade is like $5 rings or $10 rings or stuff like that. Normally the lower quality jade is actually used to make large sculptures. That's actually the normal use.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Wills. And now I want to ask Victor about the key qualities that make a project attractive to you. So you heard about Jade City, like if you're the VC, will you be investing in a project like that?
I mean, this is interesting. I think I will definitely need to do more research and take a look more product and see how's the product look like, and maybe I will try myself, see how's that work, and read more detail. It sounds cool, and I'm not VC right now doing any investment, so I'm not sure I can give the proper investment advice about it.
Okay, so for the projects, you probably encounter a lot of projects every day on your platform. What are the key qualities that make something stand out for you? Like, what aspects are you looking for specifically in order to actually be motivated to research more about that project and do
stuff? I mean, I think first thing I would definitely see is on-chain activity of these projects. I mean, a lot of people talk to me, first will talk me a fancy idea, but there's no on-chain activity, then I just really cannot convince, why you talk to us, because we are blockchain, right? So what we can do is, how can we support or grow the on-chain activity? But if there's no on-chain activity, I don't think it should be on blockchain. That's the first thing, and there's definitely a lot of projects have on-chain activity, but then I will see how can they grow and how unique they are. Some projects, they don't have to be super unique, but they know the way to grow. That's totally fine. And I think they can go to that certain level if, even there's existing product in other place. But that I definitely want to see something new, and something can have the growth and can achieve the growth, but at the same time, basically the team know how that work and can contribute the on-chain activity, and we can probably discuss that together. And the third thing basically is how's the product look like, how mature is the product. If this team have clearly on-chain activity, clearly what this kind of what they're build, they know what they're building, but they cannot deliver. After first month they talk to me, oh, I want to build on Manta, and then next 6 months later talk to me, oh, I still want to build on Manta. I'm like, what's your contract, dude? But there's no contract. That means you cannot build on Manta because there's no execution, right? So that's basically I think what we care about.
So do aspects like tokenomics and market fit affect your decision-making process so much?
I think that's more a later step. Tokenomics is I really respect on every project what their tokenomics design. I mean, I know what is good, what is bad, but I try not think, based on my understanding, because I know what is good or bad from what we are building. But every project have their own product. I try to respect that. But on the marketing side, I think every project you see on their what's their Twitter talking about. You see what's their how's the way they try to do growth. How is the follower put the comments. It's pretty easy to identify. It's a good marketing or it's a bad marketing. I mean, we've been in the space for a while, but this kind of identify, I try to give some advice. Sometimes it's good, sometimes, it's not acceptable, but I just try to help.
So, does meeting the team like beforehand, like meeting the entire team behind the project, like affect your decision as well, or do you prefer just like having one representative talk to you, or
I
the
mean,
team?
definitely the team who can represent the team. I don't know how I don't really care how many people if they're only one guy, but he's really well present, well explain what they're doing and can show the product well. I mean that's fine. If there's 20 people but they don't know what they're doing and everyone's there, it's not make sense, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I agree with you on that because sometimes you just need one person to talk like in front, like be the frontliner for the entire team, and then he's gonna be able to, vocalize what the other people are wanting to say. Anyway, I want to move on to ask Adele. For Adele, I want to ask what kinds of projects, like specific kinds of projects that the community prefers right now and are willing to invest in.
That's a really good question. I guess if we knew that, then we'll be very, very rich. For us as off-chain, it's tricky because we have quite a strong brand, so we don't usually partner with any projects that have either a token or they're looking to invest into something. So for us, it's more important to maintain a neutral stance. So we would work more with exchanges or other VCs or really anyone that's not trying to sell you something. So yeah, it is a tricky question, and I think looking at the community is one step of that whole equation. Like Victor said, you need to kind of see what the team's doing, what they're up to. Is the project going to survive for a while? I mean, yeah, there's a lot of projects that I like, but their token isn't really going up just because I like them. You know what I mean? Like I'm a loyal member of their community, and their community is slowly growing, but they're not doing what they need to do for the token to go up, which is get into bigger communities and start selling themselves a little bit more and doing that. So yeah, it is a tough question, and I don't think anyone has an answer to it. And if they did, they are probably lying. It's just it's impossible to know. You can have everything perfect and still not be a good investment, and you can have nothing going for you and be a good investment. So
That's true.
it's
That's
both
true.
sides.
So I really like what you mentioned earlier about how you check the community in every country that you visit, or you check whether the community here actually likes this project or something like that. And how do you
Yeah.
think having different communities in different countries can affect the growth of a project?
Of course. You're from the Philippines, yeah. It's a great example. When something gets picked up in the Philippines or China, it just skyrockets because people in those countries are very diehard, let's buy, or more of a gambling mentality, I guess. So word of mouth really spreads a lot quicker in some places than others. For us, when I look at let's say I'm going to, I don't know, let's say I'm going Hong Kong tomorrow for the WoW Summit. It's very easy for me to find the local Hong Kong off-chain founder and say, hey, let's catch up, let's have a coffee, and then just ask him, what's interesting in that space. Because if someone came to me I'm currently based in Malaysia. So if someone came here and was like, hey, what's happening? What's interesting in Malaysia? It's very easy for me to just say, look, Manta is from Malaysia. They're very exciting right now. People are talking about them. As well as 3 other projects. The specific exchange got a license, therefore they're very interesting, and people are talking about them. It's the same with RWA, right? So Malaysia recently released a license. The world doesn't really know about the license, but if someone came over to Malaysia and they spoke to me, I would say, yeah, it was granted to these 5 companies, and they're interesting because they got licensed, and they're suddenly a little bit more legit. So it's the same approach when we go to a new city, a new country. We try and find the local off-chain person or off-chain group and ask them what's interesting here. What are you guys talking about? What's happening? Because you can't really know what's happening around the world 24/7. So yeah, we really take advantage of it personally, but I'm sure other people just come and hang out with local people.
Okay, so a bit off topic, but kind of still in the topic. Have you heard about Axie Infinity before?
Of course. The
Yeah,
Philippines is
so
the biggest
yeah,
players.
that's true because we actually invested in it before, and then it just went down like really bad. And I feel like the Filipinos are really hardcore when it comes to trends like that. So it's funny
Yeah.
that you mentioned that because I visited other countries as well, and they never heard about Axie Infinity, but here it's a big thing. So, do you think, because I've been receiving emails as I was part of the community before, like, do you
Mm.
have hope for Axie Infinity in the coming years?
Honestly, I haven't been keeping track, but I know they did build a lot of new stuff. And I guess if their game becomes a lot more fun, it might bring back users. But right now, I mean, again, if you go to Token or some of the big events, a lot of discussion is, the second cycle and third cycle of meme coins. So all these
Yeah.
projects that trying to revive themselves, they better be thinking, 5 years in time, or how they're going to make themselves a meme, basically.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, a lot of people are looking for the second or third cycle of the meme wave. So Axie could jump on that boat, but for them, I think they're trying to build a longer game. No pun intended, but yeah, I think they are going for the 3-4 year cycle. So they can make a comeback. It's just, I don't think they should be going after Filipinos anymore.
yeah, that's true. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Yeah.
Of course.
I want to give back the microphone to Clement for the third topic, which he will be leading.
Right. So yeah, I mean we've heard some of the questions in regards to like what VCs are looking for and what the investor sentiments may be in 2024. So I guess my next question for some of you guys would be like right now how can we sort of how do I put it like there's a lot of people who wants to fundraise right now, and I think most people they used to think that you can just fundraise with just maybe an MVP and then a white paper and that's it. But perhaps we want to talk a little bit more about how we can sort of address some of the roadblocks and the challenges when we are fundraising, and perhaps maybe like Victor, like I mean, you fundraised before, so what do you think are some of the common mistakes you see projects doing when they try to approach VCs for funding? Perhaps you can maybe give some advices to some of the projects that may be listening.
Oh, I mean, that's can talk really long time. I think if you if you try to build something, you need to know like the product very well, right? And can you explain the product? How do you explain in 1 sentence, 10 sentence, and the whole pitch? But basically, this pitch is need to include what's the problem, how to compare with the competitor, and what is the unique part, and how is the current fundraising situation, right? And how is the team? Give how well we explain the situation. I think no matter what kind of stage of raising from private market to public market, what you are doing running a project is something need to have like full picture. There shouldn't have missing piece for a project. Let's say for fundraising, everything is great tech, great product, but the founder is a scammer, done so many scam before. I don't think people willing to invest that. Even he's talking about extremely fancy landscape, extremely fancy vision. There's no track record, right? And sometime if it's the same after the launch in public market, it's the same. If everything is great tech, great team, but there's no go to market, all the community talk shit about them. It's not make sense, right? No one buy in this because they just don't care. I'm not talking to some specific project, but this is the situation. But I think running right now for the raising is into a different stage. This is not this is actually a really terrible time raise for like early stage project
Right.
or the project new into the crypto, because like as I said, a lot of VC they don't have they don't have funds, like especially actually not the earliest round. Earliest round they still have a lot of angel, or they still have like pre-seed like VC. Pre-seed VC is super easy to find because some people put 100K, 200K. It's like nothing to a lot of fund or a lot of well themselves. If you are looking for like something like more than 10 million or at least like more than 8 million, it's actually really hard in this market. It's not a market like easy to get funds to build a really sustainable, really long-term project, because there was a lot of long-term projects they didn't actually made it to acquire user or accept by the user. So it's a really transparent market. It makes sense. But I think like in Southeast Asia, the builder is different. They really care about cash flow. They don't really like building some really extremely long term like something research project, not care about user and research for 3 years, and then there's an MVP, not even a product, not even have single kind of cash flow. That's actually like the problem of this kind of like fundraising situation. But I think like for the project looking for cash flow and build a established product and find a niche market, that's actually works.
Understand. Thanks so much. So basically, to find your niche market and have a healthy cash flow, and don't focus on projects that they take 3 years to research, 3 years to build, 3 years to acquire users, and that's too long a time. Yeah, got it. Thanks, Victor. So yeah, I think coming and building on to this, right? Especially for KYEX and Jade City. Adele will come back to you shortly in regards to the community perspective, but I want to take this to KYEX and Jade City first. Because Victor mentioned something very important. So I think my question would be to perhaps Will's first, like, what's the challenges you guys have faced when you're raising funds, and how have you adapted? Because like what Victor mentioned, right, it's people like sometimes they take too long and then they run out of cash flow. So yeah, Wills, perhaps you can give some insights and like some of the things that you faced, some of the challenges.
So the way we did it is we have our trading company, which we created 2 years ago, and that we raised money into that through the private equity markets. We raised a couple of million there, and that was obviously during the total bear market in crypto. So we didn't even try then. As soon as the market started to recover in the fourth quarter of last year, we said, okay, we'll now get ready for funding. We did our initial seed round and the first part of our private round during the good period, basically up till June this year. And then that gave us enough money to build our MVP, to acquire 500,000 kilograms of jade, so that we actually had like physical assets on the balance sheet, and sort of get ready for the next stage. And during that time, we also had conversations with launch pads, and we got everything in place for the public round. So we have a tier 1 launch pad, which was signed up with. And then, and we've really waited until now to restart our private round. We've just been waiting for the market to get back, because the problem is you normally only get one opportunity to talk. Like if you're going to approach a VC or an investor, you probably got one opportunity, and if you approach them at the wrong time, they'll say no because they don't have any money, and then when they do have money, it becomes very difficult to go back the second time. So we were really holding fire and just working on the product, and it's probably like, I mean, literally, in the last few days, I feel like the optimism is really starting to come back into the market. And we know how crazy this market is, right? You get green candles for a week and then everybody's bullish again. Now, initially, the VCs don't have a lot of cash because they mainly deployed all their money, last year or the beginning of this year. And then because of the downturn in the market, a lot of projects never launched. And so all that money's locked up. Yep. And so I think that's a problem. But there's still plenty of angel investors, and there are VCs that do have money. So there's also protocols, where you can build and get grants, and there's always money for good projects. Ultimately, that's what I believe. And in any industry, if you have something good, you will raise money. It just makes it harder if you do something good.
I agree, Will, definitely. So yeah, product is the thing that really makes the difference. So yeah, I mean, Marcus, you guys are building something, I would say, very different. So what are the challenges so far that you guys are facing? And
I
how have you
think
guys adapted?
I think as I mentioned previously, the main thing is that there is a lack of proof of concept in the market for what we're building, and also points of reference. So for us, as I mean, coupled on top of the fact that VCs, for when it comes to a decentralized exchange, they're asking for volume data and all of that. We're actually not. I mean, our team, we're actually not the kind to like just sit around and like wait for conditions to get better, and basically so that the VCs will loosen up a little bit. We don't go with that style. So we actually basically decided to fund the project and the development out of pocket. So currently we've been, I mean, like Bruce mentioned as well for himself, we actually brainstormed for quite a bit, and actually building it out is about a year so far. So we've actually been self-funding the project about 3 million USD so far. I mean, the main for us, our logic is that if we ourselves we are not willing to put in money for this project, we can't really expect other people to be confident enough to put the money into us as well. So we actually decided to build the project out first, and right now we're in the midst of basically building out the community and the user base, so that as and when we're ready for VC funding for our seed round and all of that, we can just feel free to approach VCs and have the numbers ready for them as well. Yeah, there isn't really a huge and very loud demand for omni-chain indexes as of now. I mean, everybody has been talking about something like that so far, but they've been distracted by more lucrative things like DP and DeSci and RWA and all of that. So I think it's only a matter of time that omni-chain topics come into play, especially when like as Will's mentioned, there's always money for good projects out there. As you can see, omni-chain products themselves, they aren't getting much funding, but the omni-chain protocols themselves, they are getting a lot of money, like as we have seen with projects like Layer Zero and all that.
Yep, totally agree. Thanks, Marcus. And yeah, to build on this question as well, I think we want to get a bit of the community perspective from Adele. So yeah, I mean, there's so much talk about community and engagement and like the transparency in like fundraising, right? But in my opinion, it's always a chicken and egg, because some projects, they need the money to build the product, to build the community, but the VCs are asking for, hey, you need the product, you need the community before we give you money, right? So yeah, Adele, in your own opinion, like how do you like try to resolve this then?
Sure. You're probably not going to like the answer, Clement, but when you come from the community perspective, especially the Web3 guys, right? And one of my VC friends said the same thing recently. He's like, look, if VCs aren't investing, then why do you even need them, right? You just go straight to the community, you do a TGE and you launch the token. Like that's the whole point of Web3. It's to move away from these traditional investment instruments and give access to the community directly. Of course, this doesn't work for every product. If you've got some platforms that you need to build and exchanges that you need order books for and market making for, it's not going to be cheap to do without raising funds. But to me, if your Web3 project and the VC is not interested, or they don't have any money to deploy or whatever it is, just go to the community. You can raise money from the people. It's just tricky, and it's a different kind of mentality. It's no longer hey, VC is going to win. Founders are making 30-40% of their shares. It's 90% to the community, and show where your money is. That's it. It's as simple as that. If you can build a strong enough community and you can just sell to them directly, why not? It's not something that it happened in our previous past. It's literally Web3 enabling this kind of access. But of course, there's a lot of legalities and unregulated space that we're in that kind of allows for this to happen. But yeah, it's our view is very simple. If the VC and angels aren't interested, the people are. Just go to the people.
Right, agreed. I mean, that's what the whole beauty of Web3 is, right? We get more distribution, we get more people believing in stuff, and especially so if we have a very exciting product like you all mentioned. So yeah, thanks for Adele for the insights, and I completely agree. So I guess we will move on to the final topic of the day, which is to sort of avoid scams, posing as VCs and stuff like that. Perhaps Eunice, you might want to take this.
So before we wrap up, I just want to quickly touch on this issue surrounding scams because there are VCs already that are pretending to be VCs but conversing with founders, kind of like stealing ideas or doing stuff. So I want to ask VCs, what red flags should founders watch out for if they want to avoid scams posing as VCs?
Okay, I think I'll take that question, and that's why Eunice, you were the one who's asking that question instead. So let me share a personal recount. So I think recently, 1 week ago actually, what happened to me was that I was involved in a sort of like a VC scam. So because Token 2049 just ended recently, right? So we were networking around, we were exchanging contact, and then there was this guy whom I saved his name as, I think it was Pixels VC or something. So I saved his contact. He reached out to me and like, hey, thanks for adding me and things like that. So in my head, I was like, okay, I probably met this person somewhere during Token 2049. And what happened was that I was telling him, hey, let's share some deal flows. I have a couple of projects that's fundraising. That's what I do. I help projects to basically match the VCs to the project if they are interested. So this guy, he shared with me meeting links. He shared with me links to download, and he tried to get me to download like a Slack version of another app called CUC. So at first, I thought it was very suspicious because like he tried to send me a Meet UN or Meet US meeting link, and then he tried to send me a Zoom link, but the Zoom link looks really fishy as well. I couldn't open it from my mobile phone, and then he tried to get me to download another app. So what happened is that if you download this app, you will download a malware called Keylogger, and when you download that, whenever you enter your password, you'll get scammed. Basically, they'll go into your wallet and they'll steal everything from you. So yeah, that's how dangerous this thing is, and especially right now because everyone is also looking for fundraising. So I think more and more of these VC scams are coming in place. And Will, I also understand that you experienced something similar recently.
I did, yeah, and actually it was almost exactly the same. It was I think the app was called Meet Me, and they said join us on this. And so when you clicked on it, it actually opened on my computer, and you could see that them. It wasn't really them, but some people speaking, but you couldn't hear them and they couldn't hear you. And then so I wrote on the chat, like, why do we have to use this? Why can't we just use Zoom or Google Meets? And he said, oh, if it's not working, you need to download the app. There's a button right there. And I was like, oh, okay, this is definitely a scam. Yeah, it's really similar one to what you had. And yeah, so in terms of, I mean, that's one way. And then, if they're pretending to be a VC, so they could just be, XYZ VC, but they could be pretending to be a VC or pretending to be a launch pad. I think it's really important to trace all of their accounts back to their community groups and see whether they're the admins or whatever. And it's not even that easy though. It's quite a lot of work because to be really, really, really sure, you almost need to physically meet them. But yeah, this industry is absolutely perfect for scams. So, because
Exactly.
a lot of people don't meet each other in real life.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's best to meet these guys offline to be safe.
Yes, I mean absolutely. But even that, I know people who've been scammed offline as well. So it's all possible.
Yeah. I mean,
Don't
just be
carry your
careful.
hardware wallet, right?
So yeah,
Exactly.
don't carry your hardware wallet. Exactly. And I mean, from a password point of view, I mean, just don't keep your stuff on a hot wallet. Keep it on I mean, don't keep it on a soft wallet. Keep it on a hard wallet. So even if somebody does get anything key logging that they can't really do anything, I think that's key.
For me, I got into a scam recently, but it's not about VCs because I don't have a project yet. But I think machine learning is really scary because like they learned how to type like my friend does. So my friend asks for money, types exactly the same as my friend on Telegram, like engages with me in an actual conversation, and then they got money from me. But I think it's just me being very trusting when it comes to like friends because that person spoke exactly like my friend. So it's kind of scary. Like, yeah, I think a lot of people are smart here in this space. So a lot of people are smart enough to scam too. And I think we can't be too smart to avoid scams like this. So for KYEX, have you experienced something suspicious like people posing as VCs as well or something similar?
Not on our end actually. As mentioned, we should probably try to meet important figures like important collaborators like VCs offline. So actually, we haven't really got like reached out or have any conversations with VCs online. So actually, we took it all offline to meet them in person at events, or like when we fly out to like main conferences like WebEx and KBW and all of that. So we actually prefer to meet in person. And the other point is we are actually pretty selective because for us we are not like we're not like a basement project whereby like it's essential for us, like we need the funding right now, or like we need it within the next month. So there's no desperation on our end. As a result, we are able to actually vet through the VCs we get into contact with more carefully. We actually take our time to actually do our own research as well, as to how this VC can help us, apart from the funding and all of that. Because like for ourselves, we're looking for valuation and incubatorship, like as mentioned. So yeah, we actually look into a lot more as to how this VC can help us in our development and our growth. So as a result, like we actually already filtered to the people that contact us regarding VC funding. So yeah, as a result, we haven't encountered anything like that so far.
Okay, that's good to know. So now I want to ask Adele if off-chain gets scams as well, and if you have like measurements or like steps on how to spread awareness within your group to manage possible scams that you've been getting.
Sure, sure. I want to share two stories, both quite similar. I think similar to what you said earlier with Will's fake Zoom app and keyloggers, the same thing happens in recruitment as well, especially when there was a GameFi kind of season or trend. A lot of these games would reach out and say, hey, why don't you get recruited? Join us on this interview, download our game before you join the interview, and, tell us what you think about the game. But the game just ends up being a fake game or a scam and a keylogger, and you've just lost access to all your wallets or everything, basically. So it is a tricky one because they're preying on people that are looking for jobs, so you're relatively desperate. But at the same time, you do want to try the game before you go to the interview, right? So there's no way around it. If you don't know it's a scam, you're getting scammed. And there's no real advice that we can give aside from, don't play games on your main wallet or don't use MetaMask or whatever kind of hot wallet you've got access to. So it is tricky. It is tricky. And I don't think off-chain can help aside from, share awareness of the scams happening and, just be a little bit more cautious, even if something looks legitimate, it might be fake. And the second story, and this is again was an older kind of scam type. Usually it's to influencers and KOLs, but what they do is they reach out to you and they kind of say, "Hey, I want some advice on this," and then they will go on to, "Let me pay you in crypto, but I don't want to pay to your existing wallet because I can't, tell people that I'm sending money to this KOL. So why don't you just create a new wallet and give me access to that new wallet and I'll deposit money into it." But what you don't know is MetaMask and Phantom and a lot of the browser plugins, when you create a new wallet, it doesn't create a new seed phrase. So if they're asking the seed phrase of a new wallet, you're still giving them the seed phrase of your existing wallets. And a lot of people in Web3, they're not tech savvy and they don't realize that, hey, I did create a new wallet, but I just gave you my old seed phrase, so you have access to two wallets, which is my hot wallet at the time. So this has been going on for a while, and it kind of surprises people because they're like, "Yeah, I created a new wallet. Surely it's a new key phrase." But the way that Phantom and MetaMask work is the new wallet is built on top of an existing seed phrase. So as long as you're not importing that wallet from somewhere else or creating a paper wallet and then sending that over, then you've given them access to your original wallet. So it's a little bit of a tricky thing. And again, the way that we help is share a little bit of awareness on some of the stories that came up and some of people's unfortunate experiences. But we haven't found a way to kind of globalize this. We do have a small newsletter where we do mention this a little bit, but we don't currently have like scams to be aware of or scams that are happening right now kind of group, which could be an option for us down the line, because they are interesting stories, but there's so many things that we have to keep up to date with that, scams and security is usually not a top priority when you're trying to make money, right? So unfortunately, but yeah, there's no real safeguards apart from awareness. Just me sharing these stories will hopefully save someone's wallet or save someone's crypto funds. And as Will said, this is the easiest market to scam because our money is not sitting in a bank. Our money is sitting on a wallet, and we've never met each other in person. And it's very easy to trust people. So it's tricky. It's very, very tricky.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So we've reached almost the end of our Vault show for the day. So I'd like to thank everyone first, but Clement and I are gonna summarize the key insights that you've shared first. So for current investor sentiment, I heard from Adele that the VCs are actually looking more into community engagement nowadays, and that it's important that the VCs know that the communities they're engaging with are genuine, and eventually we'll probably develop a way on how to make it easier to identify fake communities from real ones. And then, as Marcus mentioned earlier, also everyone's becoming more cautious after the FTX issue, which is why KYEX stands out. And I think it's very important for projects also to take note of stuff that will separate them from the rest of like exchanges, if they're looking to make exchanges, projects that are more safer for people, because as the crypto community continues to grow, we are constantly looking for safer options, safer ways to grow our investments, to connect with the community as well. And then Will's also emphasized earlier that while gamifying stuff, like making stuff more fun is a focus, they also should look into the sustainability of a project. As Will's mentioned earlier, they go 3 to 4 years in advance on what projects they want to add to make their platform more fun for people. And yeah, I guess that's it for me.
Right, Eunice, thanks for summarizing and sharing. So, yeah, I mean, we've heard some of the esteemed guests, share their experiences and perhaps share their insights on what they think fundraising should be. For me, technically, I look at two things which I want to take away from this session, which would be, when you have a really good product, you are not afraid of finding money, because money will find you if you have a really strong product, right? And secondly, I think it would be to, if you're building something, ensure you have enough cash flow to sustain and last. I think that's the most important two things for me throughout this whole session. And, I want to really thank everyone that came on board. Any final takeaways, guys? Anything from, maybe we'll start from Adele. Any takeaway from today's session?
Not too much aside from what I've said and the importance of community. So do look out for other communities, especially if you're looking at investing at projects. Off-chain is always a good resource for that. Again, anywhere in the world, we're in 70 plus cities, so just find the local off-chain group. You're welcome to just ping me and I'll add you into it. And really be vigilant. Don't trust people so easily. Try to meet people offline, as everyone has mentioned earlier, and off-chain is a great place for that because we do offline events at least once a month, depending on the city. And if you're in Malaysia, you're welcome to come say hi, and I'll share a lot more stories of kind of what's been going through and the last 7 years of crypto and how it's going to evolve, hopefully.
Right. Thanks, Adele. Thanks so much. And we'll be sure to visit you in Malaysia. Malaysia is booming right now. I think everyone's going there. How about Will? Any key takeaway from today's session, and perhaps maybe for Jade City?
Key takeaway. Well, it's just great to be on. Great to have a chance to share, with people what we're doing, and very interesting to hear other people's perspectives on the market. I think to some extent we've all experienced or seen the same things. We've gone through a quiet patch for the last 7 months, but traditionally we're in the last quarter now of a halving year, and this is hopefully when things get pretty exciting. And I'm just excited about the next 6 months and seeing a lot of new projects come out, a lot of innovation, and most importantly, seeing our project come out. That's what I'm most excited about. So have that mainnet live probably in about 6 weeks' time. and then start getting people involved in the jade industry.
Awesome. 6 weeks. Looking forward to it. Thanks, Will. And how about Marcus? Any key takeaway from today?
I think the main takeaway for me from today is I actually wasn't aware that there was this VC scam thing going on. I think because very early on in my crypto days, I've been drained once for a pretty large amount. So ever since then, I've been keeping myself safe as well. So even in our company operations, I do advise the team on how we can minimize exposure to this kind of risk as well. Yeah, so I guess scammers are getting as creative as product owners nowadays. So for us, that's why we want to make the whole space a safer place in general for all crypto users as well. Yeah, like for example, KYX, one of the features is that we are non-custodial. So actually, there's no depositing or withdrawal needed. So I believe that's the way crypto should be for all users, so that we don't have to trust a platform. At the same time, it's a double-edged sword. We have nobody to blame if it's our own wrongdoing. So I believe that crypto, because it's your assets, right? So at the same time, it should always be as safe as you decide to keep it.
Awesome. Thanks, Marcus. And yeah, I agree. I mean, not only scamming, right? Even kidnapping right now is way easier. In the past, you take 3 days to tell the kidnapper that you need to go to the bank and withdraw cash. But right now, scan your face, your money is gone. So easier to operate right now. So yeah, I mean, thanks for all the insights, guys. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you to all the listeners tuning in. I'll leave Eunice to perhaps share our final thoughts and share a final thank you to all the viewers and listeners.
Okay, so again, thank you so much for listening, everyone. Thank you so much for attending. Our speakers community links are here also for you to follow. You can monitor their lives. Not really, like you can actually follow them for more insights as well, because it doesn't stop here. It doesn't stop at the Vault Show. They still give valuable insights beyond this and in their own platforms as well. So give them a follow, and for 13 Desk, you give us a follow as well, and follow us on our social media platforms. You can follow us on TikTok, on our LinkedIn, and our Instagram, where we post daily bite-sized news. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. You stay tuned for the next Vault Show. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye.